Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is John Molesphini, Global Head of Insights at eVestment, a Nasdaq company, as we kick off Cabana Week with Nasdaq ETFs. John, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Good afternoon, Jill. Thank you for having me.
And John, the theme for Cabana Week is moving past the pivot. Give us a high-level overview of this week's activities.
Yeah, so this week we're really focusing on three things with our clients. We're really trying to look at listening, collaborating, and what next steps we can take away from these sessions that we have with them. So if we think about the volatility and everything that's gone on in 2020, first we want to hear from them. What are they doing in regards to strategic priorities, launches, areas of interest, and existing product focuses? So things that they have going on. Then we want to obviously pivot that around, what can we do to collaborate more and better with them and brainstorm and have idea sessions and come out of those with some next steps and some follow-up items that we can jointly work on with our clients and partners. So we're really excited to have the level of engagement this week to be working with them.
What type of content is the ETF overall focused on right now?
Yeah, so if you think about just the asset managers in general, if we take kind of two approaches, first talking about the markets and then maybe talking about the virus and what that's kind of led to. If we think about the markets in general, investors are really looking for alpha with lower volatility. And so we're seeing, from an investing perspective, flows in actually more fixed income than we are equity. But in terms of ETF providers, we're continuing to see an acceleration into passive fixed income and passive equity products. So kind of a trend that's continued, but is only accelerated. So for ETF providers in general, they can take advantage of that. They're providing liquidity, they're already providing products, and we're seeing more and more flows into them. And then also from an investor perspective, they're looking for more complex portfolios. People are looking to diversify away and de-risk, but they're also looking for more yield. So we're continuing to see flows into alternative and thematic strategies. So in the ETF space, things like infrastructure, renewables, cloud, cyber ETFs, and things like that, kind of the new economy and the ways that people are living. Then also, obviously, a major theme that you can't avoid, and a theme that was taking place kind of pre-2020, but has only accelerated, would be ESG. And for the ETF providers out there, a number of them are getting into that space, and potential laws being changed in this country with the new administration to allow more ESG investing can certainly further the positive momentum what we've seen from flows into ESG-oriented ETFs. And then other ideas around liquidity needs and even private markets getting more liquid. What does that mean for asset managers and the ETF providers? So all of that kind of focusing on what the markets have done. If you then pivot a little bit into the virus and the impact that that's had on just everyone's kind of ability to work from home and what that means for everyone and the digital economy, we've seen just the changes and the adaptations that people have had to make and the industry has had to make to reach their clients. So that's also led to a number of changes that we're excited to talk about with clients this week as well.
Yeah, it really was quite remarkable to see just how the industry was able to pivot to a virtual environment as a result of the pandemic. So John, let's look a little bit beyond that for 2021 and perhaps even longer term. What kind of trends do you think are going to emerge? Where's the industry going to be focused?
Yes, I think coming out of 2020, you talk about these new product offerings, and then you talk about the flip side of that is clients wanting fewer, better relationships. We've heard that from our clients. We've heard that from individuals as well. How many different platforms can I manage and log into and whatnot? So if you think about a manager working with investors, whether that's a retail investor, an advisor, or an institutional investor and consultant, how are they engaging with clients has changed. We're not going back to the way we were. And so whether that's the approach of Zoom calls and websites, but really being able to interact with clients has changed. And so the firms that have been successful with that and have done that pivot, what do they continue to do to stay ahead of the firms that are now realizing they need to do that going forward, because that level of engagement has changed. And then the second point is really, you have a number of firms that have taken advantage of what's gone on in the last 12 months to launch new strategies, to launch new ETFs, to launch new firms in some regard. And you then have this idea of more better relationships, but less of products, but you have the investors potentially wanting less. So how are these firms competing potentially for less shelf space among the platforms and among the investors when there's more and more products and more firms out there? So really thinking about how to define their firm, how they think about differentiating themselves in this new kind of digital era and new era of engaging with clients is going to be critical for the success of these firms going forward.
All right, Jack.